Hi, I'm Stephen from AEI and I'm here to give you a demo on how to understand your new Kingspan Solar Hot Water System. Our solar hot water systems will provide you with years of free hot water with very low maintenance and very little input from yourself. And knowing how the system works will give you a better understanding of its benefits and will help you spot any issues that might crop up. Firstly, let me show you each of the components in the system. The main component is your solar panel, which will be located on your south-facing roof. Sometimes they're located on an east and a west-facing roof if you have a house that is orientated east and west-facing. The solar panel is connected to your hot water cylinder via black insulated pipes like these, and between the cylinder and solar panels you'll have what's called a solar pump station. Our solar systems are 100% automatic. There's no need to turn anything on or off. No need to switch anything when winter or summer changes. They're fully automatic. You basically just need to watch the solar controller for some faults and check the system pressure every 6 months or so. The next component is the solar cylinder. That's this item here. Sometimes they look slightly different. Sometimes they're made from copper. Sometimes they have a different color jacket on the outside of them, but generally the same principles will apply. This is where your hot water for the house is stored. Your gas boiler can heat it generally in the middle. Your electric immersion heats down low, but the solar connections are at the very bottom of the cylinder. The solar heats the bottom of the cylinder for a reason. It's the coldest part of the cylinder, so it's the most efficient place for your solar system to add in heat. And because it heats from the bottom, the solar heat that goes into the cylinder then naturally rises in the cylinder, and that causes the entire cylinder to heat from top to bottom. During dark periods, or generally during the winter, you may need to top up the water. The solar system might heat it to warm, but not quite hot. So we recommend generally to use a backup, either your gas or oil boiler, an electric immersion if you don't, or if you can't do it with the gas or oil boiler. But generally the gas or oil boiler is the most efficient way, and an hour, maximum an hour a day will be enough to ensure you have hot water. When you're using your gas boiler or oil boiler or immersion to top up the temperature of your hot water cylinder during the winter or during some dark periods, we recommend that you set this to top up the water temperature at the very end of the day when the sun has set. That way the sun will have done all its work that it can during the day to raise the temperature. You only top up the temperature for the minimum amount of energy that is required. If you top it up first thing in the morning, at 7 in the morning, that means you're not giving the sun a chance to actually do any work until later on in the day when you've drawn that heat out of the cylinder and it needs topped up for a second time. So always top up your water late at night. It'll retain that heat until the morning, so you're not going to be waking up for cold showers, but it is best to let the sun do its work first, and then only at that point you turn on your backup heating. The next component is the solar pump station. This is essentially the heart of the system. It pulls the cool liquid from the bottom of your solar cylinder, pumps it up to the roof, to the hot panel, passes it back down from the panel and brings it back down this pipe on the left and puts it back into the cylinder, causing the cylinder to heat. And that loop is the same fluid just passing around the pipework the whole time, forever in the system. It doesn't change. It's not new or replenished with mains water. It's the same fluid just doing a circle, doing a circuit, going from the cylinder to the roof. We generally fill our systems up to 2.5 bar. You can see that on the pressure gauge here. The black needle is the one you need to look at. So if that drops to 0 bar, it's a sign there's a leak or your service is due. Generally it's a sign that there's a service due on the system. It happens after about 3 years and it's completely normal. Your controller will then throw up a fault, error 1 or ERR 1 will show up on the controller then. And when you see that, it's time for a service. Generally every 3 years is when that happens though, so it shouldn't happen any more often than that. It's not unusual for the pressure to fluctuate between kind of 1 and 4 bar. It's filled to 2.5 bar, but it will drop when the temperature and pressure drops, and it will rise when the temperature and the pressure rise as well. Beside your pump station, you'll see what's called an expansion vessel. This is a device just to help absorb pressure fluctuations in the system. Pressure will naturally rise and fall with temperature, so this device here is there to level out any major spikes in pressure. That's all its job is. The next item you'll see beside that is what's called a blow-off can. It's generally an empty can, and we often get questions, should there not be fluid in this can? It's 99% of the time it should be empty. It's only there if all the other safety devices in the system fail and the pressure rises to a dangerous level of 6 bar. it'll shoot a small amount of water out of the solar system automatically into this can. It'll only be a couple of mil at the bottom of it, which will allow the pressure in the system to drop back to a safe level again. But 99% of the time, you should have nothing in this can. If you do have something in the can, it's worth giving us a call. The next device you have in the system is your solar controller. It'll generally look something like this. It's the brain of the system. It essentially decides if the pump should be on, what speed the pump should run at, and it's a way for you to interact with the system to see the temperatures. So the solar controller generally has 3 temperature sensors connected to it. You have one on the roof in the solar panel, you have one at the top of your cylinder, and one down at the bottom of your cylinder. The pump will be on if the solar panel is 8 degrees hotter than the bottom of the cylinder. It's a bit of a mouthful, but basically if your solar panel is hotter than the bottom of your cylinder, the pump will be on. You can see a small diagram here on screen, and you have a solar panel in the top left and you have your cylinder down in the middle, and it's linked by pipework. There's a small T flashing at the moment in the solar panel. That's T for temperature sensor. It's telling me that the temperature of the solar panel at the moment is 36 degrees Celsius. The only button I'd recommend homeowners use is the bottom button. It's this button, the lower button of the 4 visible buttons. So press down and the T will move from the solar panel to the bottom of the cylinder. That's now telling me that the temperature at the bottom of the cylinder is 9 degrees Celsius. If I press down, the T then jumps to the top of the cylinder. That's telling me the top of the cylinder is 6 degrees Celsius. If I press T down again, it just tells me the number of hours that the solar pump has ran for since it's been installed. This is just a log. It'll run up into hundreds and thousands over the years, but this pump hasn't even done 1 hour. It's a brand new installation. I press down again. It goes back to the T flashing in the solar panel, 36 degrees. I press down, it goes to the bottom of the cylinder, press it again, the top of the cylinder's temperature, the log for the pump hours, and back again to the solar panel. So you can't get lost in that menu. It's a loop of 4 different items. So that's your solar controller. If you have any electrical issues or control issues with your system, the solar controller will generally display an error code, ERR1, ERR2, etc. ERR1 is the most common issue that we see, and it's generally a sign that the system needs to be serviced. It happens every 3 years, give or take, sometimes 2.5, sometimes 3 or 4 years. But generally it's a sign that you need to service the system, ERR1. If you see that on the screen, give us a shout and we'll book you in for a service to take place. Hopefully this video will help you understand your system that you've bought from us a little better. If you have any issues, please email us at admin@aei.ie and we'll take care of it. Thanks for watching.